The views and opinions expressed in this podcast are those of the individual guests. If you're a sensitive snowflake that may get easily offended, then turn this off immediately. If you want to hear the real truth about the gun culture, then stick around. This is the Armed Citizen Podcast. I don't know if you guys could hear me or not. Was I muted the whole time? Well, let's start over. What's going on, my Ghost Squad? Welcome to the Armed Citizen Podcast. My name is Trey. I'll be your host on this crazy ride that we're going to call the Armed Citizen Podcast tonight. Little technical difficulties there. Not sure really what happened with the audio, but hopefully it's back on. Let me know out there if it's back on. If you are out there in the live chat, please say something. We don't know that you're out there unless you do. If you want to call or text into the show, please utilize the Ghost Tactical Hotline presented by our good friends Rod and Shelly Gates at Aegis Gun Care. That phone number is 530-364-4678. If you're a veteran, really anybody, especially if you're a veteran though, and you're in that hole, you're in the darkness, and you're searching for the light, call me, text me, email me 24/7. I can't give you any medical advice, but I could be a pretty decent ear to listen to. If you are looking for someone that can get you towards medical advice, remember two things. One, you are not alone in this fight. We have a lot of brothers and sisters out here that are willing and able to help you in any way. And two, the world is a much better place with you in it. So please utilize the Veteran Crisis Hotline, 1-800-273-8255. Once again, 1-800-273-8255, the Veteran Crisis Hotline. We are spotlighting, as always, the United States Marine Corps. If you have any questions on what it takes to earn the title United States Marine, see the website marines.com. And as always, we are also a proud member of the Self-Defense Radio Network. Check out all your favorite pro-gun, pro-2A podcasts over at selfdefenseradio.net. So let me add these fools to this fiasco. Not sure really what happened, but hopefully our audio is back out there. Buck let me know that I'm good. So really, I'm not really sure. It might have been a StreamYard thing. It just happened when CloverTac joined the first time. So I'm thinking that he brought the bad juju, and I think it ended when he left. So we're going to go with that. But our first guest tonight is our good buddy from EAA. He's probably going to be talking a little about EAA tonight, but he's joining us as a friend, not in an official capacity. And he's got a pretty sweet Miami Vice regard as his avatar, all the way from Florida. What's up, Chase? How you doing, bro?
What's up, man? Everything's working now.
That was, I don't know. I have no idea. I think I'm just going to blame it on Clover. That is really, I think, what the best way to go with this. Don't you think?
Probably so. I mean, everything was good, and then it just totally died on me. Like, everything died.
It died when Clover showed up. I'm telling you.
Like, I saw his avatar, and then all my stuff just totally disconnected.
He has that effect on people and on live streams, apparently. So, yeah. But we're going to give him a chance to redeem himself and to come to his own defense, if you will, from the great state of Texas, the tactical virus. I mean, Leprechaun himself. What's up, Clove?
Ain't no defense. I'll just plead guilty. I don't care.
Oh, okay. Well, that doesn't happen very often.
Well, it helps my street cred. So now you know if you mess with me, what I can do.
Okay. So in order to help street cred, you actually have to possess street cred. So are you saying that this might give you street
yeah,
cred?
it could be. Yeah, that could
Okay. All right. Well, it all works out the same.
Yeah.
It all works out the same.
He's got
everyone knows. Well, tis what tis. So we all know that Clover likes to be King Fudd, but we have decided that he will no longer be referenced to as King Fudd. From this day forward, Chase and I both agree that he is now Super Fudd. So I'm sure there will be a patch, sticker, t-shirt coming down the line. Super Fudd is in the house. So Super Fudd.
It's already a patch.
Do you have you have a patch that has that, but you don't have Super Fudd. So, speaking of Super Fudd, do you have a shotgun of the week for us?
Is that kind of like Super Bad?
Hey, whatever gets you through the night, my man.
That kind of be cool. You remember the font and all they used for that movie? Where they did it? And instead of it saying Super Bad, it says Super Fudd. That could be cool.
Hey.
Shotgun. You know, we're talking about like OG stuff and classics and things, right?
Yeah.
So when I think OG and I think shotgun, I got to go with a blunderbuss, right?
Ooh, interesting. Is a blunderbuss technically, is it considered a shotgun, or is it? It was around before shotguns, wasn't it? I mean, it was a precursor to shotguns.
Yeah.
So I guess it is literally probably the OG shotgun, I guess you could say.
Fired shot, it was smooth bore.
Yeah.
What about a hand cannon? I mean, that was like in the 1200s or 1300s, wasn't it?
That's true, but a hand cannon didn't really have a stock and a firing mechanism and all of that kind of stuff. So it wasn't really a firearm or a gun necessarily.
Yeah. I mean, a blunderbuss is a black powder firearm, so it would be the OG shotgun.
I'll give you that one. Yeah. Interesting. Well done, sir. Well done. Let's say hi to everybody out there. You got 223 out there, Bucks out there, P&W Woods. He started off early. He said best gun ever pistol, Smith & Wesson Model 10, 1899 to present. We'll get into that. Let's see here. Ozzy's out there. He said bark at the moon. YT Ben Abraham says 1911 or a Glock 17. I would agree with both of those are great. They're iconic firearms ever. Best ever. We'll talk about that, but I would say that both of those, and regardless of what people want to say about Glock, the Glock 17 was quite literally a game changer in the firearm business, because we're talking about someone down here that I don't necessarily disagree. Canik is the new Glock. Well, everyone knows that the vast majority of my handguns are polymer frame striker fired pistols, mostly in 9mm. Wonder where all those came from. Oh, wait. The Glock 17. That's right. So as much as people want to hate on Glock, the Glock 17 was quite literally there are very few firearms, and Clover and Chase jump in here, and we're going to get into this discussion here in a minute, but there are very few firearms created in the last several hundred years that could truly be said are game-changing, right? Truly game-changing. Who would have thunk of a polymer frame, striker-fired 9mm before 1988? I'm sure there are people that thought it, but no one really did it, so.
Cough, DP70, cough.
Okay, there you go. One.
Nylon 66.
Okay, two.
Not a handgun, but
Yeah, I mean, HK paved the way for what the Glock became. Glock just perfected it. And I
Glock took it to a point to where it was acceptable, and that's what's game changing.
Were the Whitney Wolverines the originals? Were they poly? I can't remember.
It's a good question. I don't remember.
I don't know.
I know the redesign, the bringbacks, the remakes, or whatever they call them. I think they were, but I can't remember if the originals were.
P&W says long gun, the Mossy 500 and 590 series. How do I put this? Very popular, but it's popular make them the best or the greatest or iconic? I don't know. What do you guys think? I mean, we all know the 500 and 590 series are amongst the most popular guns ever sold, regardless of platform. But are they great or are they iconic? You know what I'm saying?
I think in order to go down that
road, a Ruger 1022 might be the most iconic ever if you talk about, what people have done with them over time. And maybe a 1022 deserves to be on that list. I don't know. What do you think? Go ahead, Plover. Sorry.
I think you've got to look at it from, is there legend around it? What type of impact did it have not only on the industry, but maybe with society?
Absolutely.
The legend and the lore, though, is a big thing.
Yep.
To me, yep. I mean, it won 2 world wars, right? I mean, come on, right? It's like, and you can't argue with that. But I mean, at the same time, if you're going to apply that to the 1911, if you're going to start talking smack about other stuff, you better be able to apply that legend and
apply. It won 2 world wars. It was this. It was this. It created this whole genre. Yeah, absolutely.
And so for all you AR-10 guys, let me throw this out there. FNFAL, the right arm of the free world.
Yeah. No. Yeah.
If you apply that, it's got to be an icon.
An icon. And this is where I'm talking about. Let's go back to the Glock 17 for a second. Take away what it did for the industry of whether it was iconic and first through the door or through the door or whatever. Did it change the perception of what people can do on a mass production of certain types of guns? Sure. Let's take that away. You go and ask any anti-gunist, anyone that has never not only owned a firearm, never shot a firearm of any kind, and you ask them to name 2 guns, what are they going to name? You're going to name an AR-15 and a Glock. They don't have a clue what a damn Glock is. They're going to know Glock and they're going to know AR-15. So once again, I'm not trying to.
I'll throw AK-47 in there too.
I bet they would know.
I wouldn't. I would say that the average 40-year-old person in America that has never even been around a firearm or know anyone that has a firearm, they know the brand Glock and they know what an AR-15 is. I would suspect that most of them don't really. They probably heard what an AK-47 is, but if you had them pick one out in a picture and give them a piece of a handgun, a shotgun, an AK, they probably wouldn't know. I mean, honestly, yeah, I don't know.
I think
in America, worldwide, yes, worldwide, probably, yes.
Yeah, worldwide, I think there's a lot of that.
Yeah, 100%. Let's see here. Randy out there says, evening from Tennessee. Welcome, Tennessee, my neighbor to the east. Tactical Fud Buck says, Canic for the win. Smeggy, the tactical snowman out there, says, this will be a short chat. CZ75 SPO1 tactical. Easy. There are a lot of CZ75 fans out there. I'm sure they're going to say that that's the best gun ever.
Solid platform. And
I do not deny that. Absolutely.
The basis of a ton of copycats.
Sure. Ilmoni Taka says, hello, gentlemen. Randy says, evening, Chase. I have a Tankfolio Witness P 10 millimeter. It's a shooter. So he's talking to you.
Oh yeah, those are fantastic guns.
Wes is out there.
Speaking of CZ design, I have one too.
Yeah, I know. As soon as they said CZ, I was like, sounds familiar.
Smeggy said, I'd be scared of Clover on the street. He'd probably smack you with an over-under $5,000 shotgun. He'll probably smack you with an over-under shotgun, but it'll probably not be a 5,000 because, well, it might be worth that, but he ain't gonna buy it for $5,000.
That's just how I roll.
Yeah, he's gonna be all pimped out. What was that we were talking about last week? The steel saw, the steel shotgun.
Yeah.
Chainsaw.
Yeah. Big Al says, Coach side-by-side double barrel. Okay, so this goes into one of the arguments we'll have. Best versus iconic. A Coach side-by-side. Iconic for the time period, for what it was used for historically. Yeah, Coach side-by-side double barrel's got to be an iconic shotgun, doesn't? I mean, what it was literally used as a stagecoach.
That was basically the security guard arm of the day.
100%. That's why they call it shotgun. You're riding shotgun.
Yep.
The shotgun sat right next to the driver of the stagecoach and was there to take care of anyone that tried to come and steal the safe of Wells Fargo, whoever was doing that. Let's see here. 223 says, Ghost, you need to make a patch of your logo. And I still believe you need to put your logo flag on the sleeves of your shirts. I've got patches. I've had them patches for 5 years. They're on the website, as a matter of fact. Let me know. Let's see here. And my logo on your t-shirts, that's great. And I think that's a great idea to put them on sleeves of the t-shirt. Here's the problem with that. The t-shirt company that I utilize, because I don't want to order a shit ton of t-shirts and store them here. And every time someone buys one, I have to go box it up, ship it up, and all of that. I run a third-party source that does it there. So I never have to actually physically handle them. I put the designs up. People go and buy whatever size, whatever color, whatever they want, and it's shipped directly to them. Here's the thing. That costs. So I only make $1 off of every shirt purchase. I want you to buy all the shirts. I'm not doing it to make money. I just want the shirts to be out there. That said, the more logos and real estate you take up on a shirt, the price of that shirt, and I don't want you guys to have to go and buy a $35 t-shirt. I am not Journey on a tour that they can charge a $35 for a t-shirt. I'm just a dude from Arkansas, and I'd rather you buy a $22 t-shirt than a $30 t-shirt, and that's simply from taking a logo off. That's just me. Now, on some shirts, you're able to design over there on Spreadshirt. You can design and put whatever logo on the sleeves that you want. If that's what you want, by all means, they're going to charge you for it, but you're more than welcome to do that. I just don't do it off the initial design because I'd rather you not have to spend $30 for a t-shirt when you could spend $22. And I make $1 off of that. So it is what it is. But yeah, no, I agree. I think it would look cool on the sleeve, but I'd rather not have to sit there and trying to get people to buy a $30 t-shirt. It is what it is. Let's see here. Rod's out there. What's going on, Rod? Big Al says the Navy loved Glock in case they lost an anchor. The Glock was a great option. Yeah, sure. Big Al, he also says the Mosin Nagant was a game changer. That I believe will probably come up. I would be interested to hear everybody's thoughts on where the Nagant stands in the hierarchy of firearms, not just in the last century and a half, but from the beginning. I would imagine that the Nagant, I don't know if it would make a Mount Rushmore, but I think it's going to be up there. I think that was something that anyone that will start listing, that's probably on a lot of people's at least top 10 list. So we'll say. 223 says the Volks pistol. The hell's the Volks pistol? Anybody help me out on that one?
VP70.
Okay. All right. Well, they called. Is that like his slang thing?
Yeah, VP is Volks pistol. It's peaceful.
Is that what VP stands for? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't know what VP stand for. There you go. I learned something. So the VP9 is the Volks pistol 9.
Yeah.
There you go. HK. I didn't know that. Thank you.
They literally brought the VP designation back because HK wants you to know that they were the first.
They like themselves, and they have big reason to like themselves. But yeah, they do like themselves. Jason out there says the M16/AR-15, and please, for the love of all that is holy in this world, if you're out there and you mention the M16, do not put /AR-15. They are not the same. They are not close to the same. Just because they look similar means nothing. Okay, they are not the same rifle. And anyway, so we'll say M16 or an AR-15. It's a rifle, carbine, or pistol, irons, red dot scopes, lasers, multiple calibers, and capacity, cheap and fully customizable. I would suspect that the AR-15 / whatever you want to say, I think that was one of them. Once again, if it's on a Mount Rushmore, I don't know. I think if you talk to anyone that takes biases away and you say top 10, I think an AR has to be mentioned in that top 10 because of what it has done for customizations, for being modular. The AR is a game changer. Go ahead, Clove.
Well, what bothers me about there's a lot of things that bother me about the AR-15. What bothers me about the AR-15 though is there's no, what's the word? There's no autonomy. There's no, it's not like, I mean, when you go with like Colt, I mean, it's the tried true design. Yeah. I mean, there's some different variants of 1911 and brands and stuff like that. But I mean, how wild of a swing do you see with the AR-15 platform? You know what I mean?
That's true. No, that's true.
So that's what bugs me about it. I mean, it's not like it hasn't changed the game and everything else, because it has. But it's to me, AR-15s are just so, I don't know. I don't want to say vanilla because that's not it, but it's almost like I don't know. It's almost like having something from everything from the custom shop. You know what I mean? Like a custom bike instead of an old school Harley or whatever. You've got some custom chopper made. And it's like, that's cool and all, but does it really have the history if it's a modern, all tacked out tactical with everything but the kitchen sink on it?
Let's come back to that because I wrote something down that I want to touch on that in just a second. Real quick, Big Al, Smith & Wesson 44 Magnum. Big Al says 357 Magnum. I don't think he cares which one, just as long as it's 357 Magnum revolver. G-Webs is out there. I don't know if you guys were able to see it over on my Instagram page. If you guys haven't seen it, there was some secret footage that has been found in the last 24 hours of G-Webs leaving me at range day at SHOT Show 2020. So if you haven't checked that out, go check out my Instagram feed, and that footage is now available. And thank you to whoever was able to catch that footage for me. So it is. Anyways, Big Al says a club. Cavemen use them to get dates or to kill their dates. It is what it is. Pickle out there says, "What's wrong with Ghost? He turning FUD. Blink twice if you need to be rescued." There you go. G says, "Hope everybody's having a good week." Marcus says, "Yo, what's up?" Ooh, now this is interesting. Rod says a Daisy Red Rider, most iconic, enough said. The Daisy factory is about 3 hours from here in Arkansas. I don't know if it's still around, might not be there anymore, but I know it was for the longest time. Interesting you say that. Big Al says AKs are used for truck guns in Oklahoma. Lots of them. The AK is by far the most known guys worldwide. I don't know if it's the most known. The AK-47, by most accounts that are keeping stats, is the most sold firearm in the world. There's more AKs running around this world than any other gun ever. But does that mean it's most known? I don't know. We'll come back to that. Now, Pickle's got a question for you out there. Clover, he says, isn't Glock the gun that doesn't set off metal detectors and costs more than you make in a month? Yeah, that's what the some politicians want you to know. Sure. Let's see here. CZP07 and Shadow 2. Shadow 2 is pretty strong.
Thanks, Die Hard 2, by the way.
There you go. Got to try both AK-47 and AR-15. Different, but both great tools. I would agree to that. Big Al says the FNX Tactical 45. I'm trying to catch up here. Walther PPK. I would say that the Walther PPK is not even close to being one of the greatest guns ever. I would say that it could be an iconic gun thanks to James Bond. Sure, I think a lot of people that know the PPK know it for one single reason, honestly. Let's see here. I'm trying to get down here and catch up here. Jason says, what about the flintlock musket? Without that, we probably wouldn't be here talking about our favorite guns. There's a lot of truth to that. And 223 says the Daisy factory is still there. So I didn't know if it was still open or not. Who knew? So there you go. You guys always know that on Thursday, Saturday, and Monday at 10 a.m. on our YouTube community tab, we go through our Ghost Tactical polls. You know, to have some fun. We try to throw a couple fun ones out there and then usually a gun-related one. Let's go check out last week's polls. First one, last Thursday, 1.6 thousand votes. All right, let's settle this. What are you more scared of? Spiders, snakes, or the wife? Chase, what scares you the most? Spiders, snakes, or the wife?
I mean, I'm not really scared of any of them. But if I got to pick one, it's going to be just the wife because I got to deal with her every day.
Right. I hear you. Real quick before he jumps out of here, RU1 says, have a great evening. Late in the UK. He's from the UK. That's awesome. Welcome. And grammar is off. If I was to pick a favorite, I would say the G3. Grew up in a Portuguese military family and all used those through many generations. Damn delay on it. So there you go. Clover, spider, snakes, wife. Or should I put wasps for you?
Oh my God, right? I had two in here yesterday at the same time. You talk about freak out. I mean, one at a time I can deal with, but holy crap. Because here's the thing about wasps, if you don't know this, when you tick one off, like you swat at it or whatever,
Piss off everybody.
They emit a pheromone, and any other wasps in the area sense that. So, yeah, when you got two, it's hairy. You know, having to pick out of the three, spiders, I love spiders. Snakes,
You're
I'm indifferent on. Yeah, I know. Snakes, I'm indifferent on. You know, I can handle snakes. And I can handle spiders, but sometimes I can't handle my wife. So I'm going to take a different approach. And I'm going to say, sometimes you just got to say yes, dear, and walk away.
And you're getting ready to go on a 5-day car trip with her. Just saying.
But yeah, we'll say wife on that. She can't be she can't necessarily be trained like spiders and snakes.
Most people that know me think that I'm the one to be scared of in the family. That's just not true. Anyone that knows my wife and knows her well knows that she's a scary one. You can piss me off and it'll be interesting for a while. You piss her off and she remembers for 30 years. Just saying. So the wife is definitely scary. Spiders, I hate all critters. I'm going to be honest. I hate all critters. They freak me out. I don't want anything to do with them. Spiders, my wife hates spiders more than anything. That's her thing. For me, I am petrified, literally petrified of snakes. That's just the way it goes. Petrified of them. Anything that can move that fast without legs, you can have them. I'm good. 40% of the one, huh?
What's fix saying? Climb trees.
Climb trees, jump, swim in water. I mean, they're the fucking perfect fucking weapon here. Let's be honest. They're the perfect weapon.
Have to be snakes.
Exactly. Can you imagine, like, literally being on that plane, by the way, or being in that pit with Indiana Jones? Like, I think I would have to worry about being killed and eaten by snakes. I would have a heart attack if I was on a plane that was told that I have thousands of snakes on, or if I fell into a hole in the ground that had thousands of snakes in it. I would have a heart attack before anything would happen to me. So it is what it is.
Well, I know where I'm taking you in Vegas.
Yeah, I bet you do. You promise, baby. Never mind. They can go dark real quickly. Let's stop there. 40% of the 1.6 thousand votes says the wife is the scariest thing. 33% say snakes and 27% say spiders. Most of the people that voted for wife, make sure to let me know that please do not use their names. They do not want their wife to find out that they said that. It is
roll call. Roll call time.
Roll call. Absolutely. Absolutely. Our next poll.
Posting these results live.
Oh, yeah. I'll be posting the names of everyone that voted. Yes. Wouldn't that be cool if I actually could find the names of the people that voted? That would be awesome. Actually, it wouldn't, because I wouldn't have the time to go through them anyway. So our next poll was Saturday, and it's got 1.7 thousand votes. What is the best sport to take a nap to while watching on TV? Is it NASCAR, baseball, golf, or other? I'm going to start with Clover on this one.
Dude, it's golf, hands down. Hands down, man. So I can remember watching golf. I've watched golf off and on. And I'm going to tell you something. Whether it's the broadcasters or the guys out there on the course, like even the clapping, right? Like even the clapping and the cheering is quiet.
It's literally called a golf clap.
I know. It's like everything is all quiet. And like, we're here on the 18th tee today. And it's like, and even the announcers are quiet like that. So it's great for a nap.
Yeah, and they're in an enclosed booth, like not even close to golf. Well, Jim, I think he's got a great shot here. It's a 9-iron. The crowd's going to go absolutely berserk when he hits this. You know? It's like, you know?
No other sport is that quiet. I don't think.
Probably not. Chase, what about you? Golf? Let's see. Golf, NASCAR, baseball, or other?
It'd probably be golf for me, too. Because, I mean, anytime I attempt to sit there and watch like a pro tour like event, I end up falling asleep.
Yeah. For me, it's definitely golf, and that's ironic because of what I do for a living. I will tell you, I'm going to go very specific. If you ever want to take the greatest nap of your life, find a PGA Tour telecast that's over on CBS and pray to God that Jim Nantz is the one that's doing the commentating. He has the perfect voice, and not only will he put you to sleep, it will go down almost as good as Joey and Ross's naps, but it will go down as one of the greatest naps you'll ever take. While you're in the background sleeping, you just hear this voice, and it's Jim Nantz, and he's just going to take you to a great place. But yeah, I'm not going to say it's as good as Joey and Ross's nap, but it's pretty close.
Now I got to tell you that if you mute NASCAR, it would run a close second.
Yeah, here's the thing about NASCAR.
It sucks.
Who wants to watch on TV? I'm sure I've never been to one. I'm sure it's fun as hell to watch live. I'm sure it would be. But let's be honest. Who wants to spend 3 hours of their lives watching dudes take left turns all day? Just saying.
used to be
I'm-
okay live.
Yeah.
Now there's too many rules and all this bullshit, and it's boring. If you want to watch racing, watch real racing. That's what open wheel's for.
What's open wheel?
Like Formula One, Indy, that kind of stuff.
Oh, like the Indy cars?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Where the track is not, or that, or
Like
or
a
dirt
road,
track.
like a road race or something. Is that what you're
Like
talking
a road
about?
course.
Like a road race?
IndyCar on
Okay.
IndyCar on an oval is way more entertaining than NASCAR on an oval.
So like
They're
round,
4 wide
like
at 230.
like dirt or round asphalt or something like that.
Old
Not
school dirt track.
not high end pro stuff, but like it can be fun.
I'm all for like a demolition derby. That would be kind of fun to go watch again.
Oh yeah, those are a blast.
I mean, let's be honest. The demolition derbies were created to bring people to dirt tracks. Like the dirt tracks are the minor leagues, if you will, of NASCAR or of racing in general. And what happens at minor league ballparks? They have midget tossing and all sorts of weird things that happen to get you into the stands. Demolition Derby was created to get people to come to the track. And oh, by the way, we have a couple races tonight. Would you like to stay and watch those? So I think that the dirt tracks, probably at least around here, I can tell you in Arkansas, dirt tracks are huge. It helps that Mark Martin lives 45 minutes from here and has done a lot. But there's dirt tracks all over the state, and they're crazy. Like it's crazy. Like they're sold out. I mean, it's crazy how big dirt tracks are in Arkansas. So it is kind of one of those things. But yeah, golf overwhelming 63% of the vote. NASCAR at 18%, baseball at 17%, other was 2%, and the vast majority of those 32 comments were tennis. And I forgot about tennis.
Ooh,
tennis would be an
is-
interesting
yep.
one.
Yep.
That's a strong one. That's a strong that I forgot to leave, and I left it off. Tennis is strong. Yeah, for sure. And our last poll goes into what we're talking about. Well, it's part of what we're talking about tonight. It was yesterday, and it's got 1.6 thousand votes. Of these classics, what's your favorite? Colt 1911, M1 Garand, Winchester 86, Colt Single Action Army, or the Uzi? Chase, of those 5, do you have a favorite one that's on that list?
That's difficult. I like several of those, honestly. Single Action Army has a special place in my heart. M1's got a special place in my heart. Of those, though, probably a 1911.
Yeah, that's fair. Clove, what about you?
Single Action Army.
I knew you were going to come with that. You had to come with that revolver. Yeah, for me, what's that?
I don't care as long as it's a revolver.
No, I was saying what generation of Clover.
Yeah. Well, Clover and I were talking about this yesterday, and what I thought would happen did happen. The 1911 comes in first place with 47% of the vote. The Garand comes in at second place at 31%. Uzi at 9%. The Winchester and the Colts come in tied at 7%. Clover and I were talking on the phone, I think it was yesterday. It might have been Monday or Sunday. I don't remember. Talking about this. It probably had to have been yesterday because the poll came out yesterday. I basically said I think that the 1911 will win. And I don't disagree as to why people would think that. But it's funny that, in my opinion, without the Colt Single Action Army being what it was, it took handguns, not saying revolvers or pistols, it took the handgun and made it a viable option for a lot of different reasons, a lot of ways, security, having a sidearm in the wild west. I mean, whatever, it made a handgun viable. The 1911 is by far a superior firearm, probably more iconic, but does the 1911 happen without the Single Action Army making handguns viable? I don't know. What do you guys think? And this is open forum. What do you guys think?
Nope.
No,
You
single
know?
action army revolutionized the handgun.
Yeah, it made it made handguns basically. You know,
Yeah. We were talking about iconic guns. A single action
Yeah.
army is an iconic gun. There's no doubt about it.
100%.
Well,
100%.
Is Colt in a position to do it even when John Browning invents it? Right? You got to look at that dynamic.
Yeah. I mean, the single action army really put Colt. I mean, Colt had other models beforehand, obviously, like the Walker and all that. However, the single action army is what made Colt.
Absolutely. You know, people forget, and I don't even want to know, you guys actually might know this. I don't even want to come close to speculating how many designs Browning had in his lifetime. I don't know how many were actually produced. There's probably no way of knowing. The benefactor of a lot of those were Colt. The firearms manufacturers of the time were the benefactor of Browning's designs. How many manufacturers, how many companies were made by a Browning design? I mean, there's no telling how many over the years, you know. But yeah, the single action army. Once again, this is my opinion. I think if there was, well, who can do this for fun? And we'll go into later on ones, guys. But Clover, Chase, the Mount Rushmore. Is the army on the Mount Rushmore? The four iconics? Does the army, does it have a case of being on the Mount Rushmore?
Yeah, it's got a case for sure.
Do you think it's a hands down, or is it one of those, hey, you know, maybe?
I think people will try to argue for and against it, but it's a hard argument against it.
I would agree. Let's have some fun. Clover, the Mount Rushmore. Yeah. We're not don't name all four of them because you probably wouldn't be able to decide right now. Is there a gun out there that in your mind for your Mount Rushmore is the hands down, like there is no arguing, this is on the Mount Rushmore? What is it?
Okay, can I tick a lot of people off first?
I don't care what you do. Absolutely.
There's no room with historical connotation and everything else if we're relating this to Mount Rushmore, right?
Correct.
There's no room for the AR-15. AR-15 is entirely too modern, and that's going to tick a lot of people off, but that's what I think. But now I'm going to make some people happy because
for the same reason that probably Kennedy wouldn't be on the Mount Rushmore of presidents.
Yep.
There you go.
And however, I do think the AK-47's up there.
AK's been around a lot longer. The M16, we talked about this, but the M16, which the AR was based off of, not the same rifle, the M16 was created to be the answer to the AK-47. So if one of the two deserves to be up there, I like where you're going with the AK. I like where you're going with that. Anyways, go ahead. I digress.
Yeah. So yeah, just off the top of my head, I mean, if we pick for AK-47 single action army, 1911, and probably Winchester lever.
Any specific model in the Winchester, or just the Winchester lever design?
Help me out, Chase. My mind's going blank on what I'm thinking, but he probably knows.
The 93?
Probably like
whatever
an 18.
it is.
Looks like an 1873.
80, maybe this 86, maybe.
Let's say
86?
either 73 or
The 86 is the one that I've always heard.
86. Yeah. I'm thinking 86.
That's the updated design. You're looking at the later from the original 73s, like the 1892s and that kind of stuff.
73. Yeah. Maybe the 73. Yeah.
The 73 is the iconic cowboy gun.
Yeah. Basically the rifle that won the West.
Yeah.
The one the West. I mean, that's where I was going. The reason why I asked you that is because one of these Winchesters literally has the distinction, the gun that won the West. So that's why I asked you that. Yeah.
Yeah, you got the gun that won the West. You've got the handgun that started it all. You've got the service pistol that has been around forever, and then you've got worldwide the most prolific semi-auto platform rifle. So I mean, I think that's a solid 4.
That is a solid 4. Chase, do you want to, off the top of your head, your Mount Rushmore?
Well, I mean, I understand where he's going with the AK, and the AK's definitely got the pedigree and the iconography. I mean, there's literally countries that have the AK on their flag.
True.
Over 100 million produced. You know, however you want to argue it, if it's a copy of the Sturmgewehr or whatever, but the AK probably deserves a place on there. The one I would add that we haven't touched on at all, and people have said a couple of rifles. Me personally, a Mauser 98.
Interesting.
There's
what? So you've got the AK and the Mauser so far. We'll come back to the Mauser in a second, but what are the other two? You got the AK, the Mauser.
Probably the 73 Winchester.
Okay.
And it's honestly
it's between the Army and the 1911, isn't it?
It's Single Action Army 1911, and the high power gets a good mention because so many modern guns are based off of that as well. But
I was going to bring that one up.
Prolifically, it's really hard between Single Action Army and 1911. It's probably the 1911 in more modern times, but the Single Action Army absolutely deserves a place on it. That's a hard one.
Yeah. I have no problem with the 73. I have no problem with the AK. I would probably go both the Army and the 1911. Yes, that new 2 handguns on Mount Rushmore. Go kill me. I think that the Army's probably more important, dare I say, than the 1911 historically, but I think the 1911 is more iconic. I think that there is, and this is going to go back to something I want to talk about earlier. We were talking about the 1911 versus the AR, and everyone knows that I'm a huge AR fan. I love ARs, but yeah, Clover's right. It's way too early. I think that the AR has brought a lot of people into guns, but it's also the poster child of the anti-gun movement, literally the poster child. So it's brought a lot of that to it. Whether or not it deserves to be, I don't think it does, but that's the picture that they're going to put up there. There's weapon of war and all this.
And there's very little, again, I go back to there's very little distinctness to it, right?
And that's where I'm going with this, because
it's too customized.
That's right. And if the AR was so iconic, then I would say 90% of ARs in the world would have a carry handle and an A2 front post. If we're going to talk about it, they would have gotten the carry handles, and the A2 would be on every single AR. Let's just say that.
There would be no aftermarket like it is. I mean,
that's correct.
Holy Moses.
Now you could get some stuff, right?
Yeah.
But here's the thing about the 1911, which we're talking about. Another iconic gun, and you had brought up the distinction between AR versus 1911. AR, everyone's customizing. Everyone's just, it's gotten so out of hand that you don't even almost recognize it's an AR platform when it's finished, right? Mm-hmm. Flip channels to the 1911, sure, with the ideas of custom G10 grips or just custom grips in general. Take Cerakote. With Cerakote, you can do anything. The occasional tweak here and there. I will say this. I think there's more respect for the 1911's classicness and iconicness that you don't see the weird stuff happening with the 1911 that you do with the AR. And it's not because that the AR isn't looked fondly upon. It is not that. I think that there is a respect for what that design of the 1911 is. Now, had Stoner not designed the M16 or the AR or whatever, had it been John Moses Browning who had the initial design, maybe the AR would be held in higher regard. We'll never know.
Maybe it didn't even pan out, right? I mean,
he might have had the first design. Who knows? I mean, that dude was crazy good, you know. But I do think that the respect for the 1911's design and what it means is probably one of the reasons why you don't see.
Well, and that goes back to
variations off the initial design, you know.
That goes back to longevity, right?
Yeah.
And so the AR is just not there yet.
So
to throw a monkey wrench in this a little bit. So four spots on this Mount Rushmore. So let's move to a bigger mountain. So we've got 5 because we need to add a shotgun of some sort. So what shotgun goes? Because you notice I didn't even mention a shotgun. What shotgun goes on the Mount Rushmore?
That's tough because there's a lot of iconic shotguns too.
I'm so ignorant when it comes to historical shotguns. So the best shotgun, I'm just going to put it this way. The best shotgun that I've ever shot is the M4. So if I'm going to put a shotgun, that's what I have the most. I don't, you know this, I'm not a shotgun aficionado. I don't know the history of what are great ones and all of that. We talk about a coach, you know, side-by-side double barrel. Well, I wouldn't even know which one was the one that was used the most in the 1890s. I wouldn't even know what brand. So would it be Winchester? I don't know. Like, what was a shotgun that made shotguns famous back in the 1890s? I mean, I don't know. I'm asking you guys, which one would it be?
Definitely not 1890s, but the Browning A2 comes to mind really quick.
1880s.
I mean A5. What am I thinking? A2, the A5.
The Browning A5. Is that probably the most iconic shotgun, you think?
It's got to be one of them, right?
A5 is definitely up there. The trench gun's got to be up there.
Oh, yeah. Like
that's an iconic gun.
A Model 12 or...
Yeah, Model 12. Obviously, things like 870s, 500s, but I don't.
But here, once again, I think the 870s and 500s are awesome, but we're talking about Mount Rushmore.
Yeah, they're not legendary status.
If we're gonna put an 870 or 500 up there, then the AR-15 has to come back into play.
So 870 is what, 51, I think. So I mean, you're right there, close to the AR. It doesn't have longevity.
1950s time frame is the AR.
Yeah. Now, where are we at on the Browning on the A5?
That was 1920s.
Okay.
That's 100 years old. I could be okay with 100 years old.
Yeah,
you know?
That's what I was thinking. Remington 1100. I think that's too new as well, though.
They had the old, like a Model 11s and things, though, so that's in that same ballpark as the A5.
That's true.
Reese says the Trench 12. Wes says, what was the first pump shotgun? The Model 12? I mean, the pump shotgun, Jesus. Like, if we do know what the first, like, mass-produced pump shotgun was, how is that not at least in consideration? You know what I'm saying?
Browning. It was a Winchester 1893, which was, by the way, a Browning design.
It was a Browning design.
Okay.
Browning designed the first pump and the first lever shotgun.
How about
the 1890 and the 1893.
Can we just say there's like Browning deserves to be on the? I mean, there's.
Oh, if we're going by figures,
if we're going by figures, Browning is. It starts with Browning, doesn't it? Not? It starts with Browning. Absolutely. Yeah. I think Samuel Colt's up there. Yeah, but I think it starts with Browning. Like Browning's the first one you see. That's the one.
Yep. No doubt.
Randy says Browning, Stoner, Garand. Well, shit. Browning, Stoner, Garand, and Samuel Colt. Maybe a Kalashnikov. I mean,
I don't go Stoner.
I would say Browning, Kalashnikov, Garand, and Colt.
You got to look at, you know.
I mean, Jesus, it doesn't get much better than that, you know?
Yeah, but keep in mind, Smith & Wesson had a ton of iconic guns at that time period, too.
Yeah, but they didn't have, like, the one designer. Like, it was, like, they didn't have a designer that did all of those designs. As a company, they're up there. As a
Yeah.
company, they're up there. But they didn't have like the guy that says, I've got this portfolio of 1,000 designs, pick one, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know. Wes says the Spencer pump, 1882, before Brownings. Does that ring a bell to any of you guys? I don't know what that is.
It does. It does.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And that may very well have been may very well have been
Could
the
be.
first.
Who knows? Yeah.
But you've got,
Well,
the Browning, when we're talking about the trench guns and we're talking about that sort of stuff, that's all basically off of Browning design.
Yeah. I mean, all those early iconic guns are all JMB's design.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So let's do we've moved to a new mountain in Wyoming, the Grand Tetons. And we've got space for 5. Okay. I'm going to take Clover's and we're going to go a different direction with it. We got to put a handgun, a bolt action. Handgun can be revolver or pistol. A bolt action, a shotgun, a lever action. The 5th one. Call it a milsurp or a gun created for the military. 1911 can fit in that as well if you wanted to go 2 different ways. So let's start out with handgun. The Mount Rushmore of handguns. If you could pick one handgun to go on the Mount Rushmore, what is it, Chase and Clover, in your eyes?
Single action Army.
Single action Army goes on the Mount Rushmore for handgun, representing the handguns. All right.
Probably single action Army. It's between that and 1911.
Sure.
I'm going what started. I mean, a single action
Go
Army
with older. Yeah.
I mean,
it
put Colt on the map. It was a military sidearm. It literally, in 1873, won the West. You can't deny it.
And not just that it's an old, not just that it's an old design, but it's an old design. Here's kind of the criteria. It's an old design. It was a popular design, and it's still popular. It's still popular and being produced. Right?
Sure.
That has to be kind of the criteria that we're
absolutely
going by. Because obviously you've got one-offs and things that may have been the first, right, or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't go on that alone.
Yep. I would tend to agree, because here's the thing: would Colt, not Samuel Colt, but the company Colt, been around to make the 1911 if it wasn't for the Army? I don't think it would. I shouldn't say it. I shouldn't say it. I suspect it might not. I wouldn't say that definitely would not, but I suspect that Colt was around because of the popularity of the Army. Okay. Yeah. All right. So I think we all agree on the Army being on the Mount Rushmore for handguns. Let's go lever action, because that are iconic, especially in the late 1800s and early 1900s and all that. But I'm going to start with Chase on this one. What's the Mount Rushmore representative of lever action rifles?
1873 Winchester. Like
Clove?
Not even a question.
I don't think there's any. You're right. There are others, but I don't think there's any that's even close. And if they are, they're Winchesters as well. So
they're Winchesters, and they're just updated versions of that design.
Yeah. Because remember, the Henry was only produced by Henry for a short period of time before it was produced by Winchester.
Now the Henry is iconic.
It is,
but I think it's iconic for folklore more
popularity,
than
though,
anything
right?
else.
Popularity, right? It just wasn't there.
And the original, and the original Henry didn't look like the modern Henry rifles people think they look like now.
Right. Yep. Yeah. Yep. I don't think that. I'm not even getting anyone giving other options out there than the 73. So I think that's probably a solid one. Clover, I'm going to go to you and say bolt action rifle.
Chase hit it earlier. Mauser, man. Proliferation worldwide, use in multiple continents, and then think about all of the hunting rifles built off of Mauser action from surplus and that effect on society. And people are still building rifles on Mauser actions today. So got to give the bolt to Mauser.
Chase, you still go with Mauser on the bolt?
Absolutely. I mean, all your modern, almost all of your modern bolt action rifles are still patterned off the Mauser, whether they use a control round feed or a push feed or whatever. The basics of
The
modern
design of that action, yeah,
are all from the
absolutely.
Mauser. I mean, Mauser's still a company today. They're still extremely desirable guns. Everybody's made something off of surplus Mauser in the past. They're still the preferred action for big game hunting. There's no argument any other way but a Mauser.
Yep. Real quick, let's go in here. Randy says, he's probably talking about the designers, I guess. We have forgotten Elmer Keith in his work of the 44 Magnum.
I hadn't forgotten Elmer at all. But the thing is, like we're talking
you only
about
got
with
4
the AR,
spots. I mean,
it's new.
God, well,
It's too new.
no,
Too new.
I understand.
Forty-four
I
Mag's
hear
too
you.
new.
It's like Stoner. It's just too new. I mean, I get it. Stoner is gone.
If you want to throw what would be considered a modern double action revolver into the mix, the Model 10, or what started out as the Smith & Wesson hand ejector, and is now the Model 10, has progressed up to that. It's been around a long time, popular, still in production, right? But it doesn't beat a single action Army. Come on.
So let's just have some fun with this, because the Model 10 might be the gun that takes the cake if it talks about a specific model that's had the most names. What did you say it was called? A hand ejector? Is that what you said?
Yeah, it was originally a hand eject.
You got the hand ejector.
The Model 10. It was also at one point marketed as the first MMP. Because it was the first military police handgun that Smith & Wesson put out there. So it's all the same design. They've got different marketing names depending on who they're trying to sell to.
Before they got into the numbered models, basically.
Yeah.
And then you had the Victory.
They must have the Victories.
Yep.
And then
for someone who's
all the dashes, because you have
right.
10-1, 2, 15.
Right. Obviously revolver ignorant and don't want to be educated on much of it, but I will ask this because it is something that I'm sure there are other people out there that want to know this as well. They might be in the shadows that don't want to admit they don't know this. I'll admit it publicly. I don't know what the hell that means. Let's take the Smith & Wesson 686. What does the 686 actually mean? What is their numbering system when it comes to, is it rounds? Is it, when I say rounds, like capacity? How is there a system on how they number their revolvers? I'm asking you guys. I don't know.
I was waiting on Chase.
Oh, okay.
I don't really, modern Smith & Wessons, I don't really think there's much rhyme or reason.
Like, let's take the 686. Is there a reason why it's called this? Like, does the number 686 mean anything to the gun, or is it just a model number?
The 6 at the front designates stainless.
Yeah.
I can tell you that much, because if you see a revolver or even if you see a revolver or 6 in front of that number, and it being a 3-digit number, right? In other words, there's a 3-digit number and the first number is a 6. That denotes stainless. Otherwise, it's either blued or nickel.
Yeah.
Right?
Is there a reason why? And I'm not joking. I'm literally asking these. Is there a reason why 6 was designated to be the stainless number? I don't know.
I know a lot of random Smith stuff, but I don't know that.
Okay, I don't know. I was just wondering. So the front 6 means stainless. The 5 means something, whatever. Does the 8 have any meaning at all?
No. I think the 2 number models are simply kind of like the Glock thing. It's something they developed for their tracking system or whatever the case may be. And I think that's evident by the dashes, right? Because if they change a screw, if they tweak one little thing from, you know what I'm saying, then it's a dash.
Instead of version 2, it's dash 1 or dash 2.
So that indicates to me, and everything I've read, even in my Smith & Wesson book, everything I've read, it doesn't outright say in there, but everything that I read on the model numbers, it points to it's their tracking system more than anything.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, there's dashes on the modern guns. Like there's 686-2, -3, whatever. Like I've got a 686 Combat Plus, in the truck. Which a Combat Plus is full lug and +1, so it's a 7-shot.
There you go. So I was going to ask you, the last 6 has nothing to do with its capacity of 6 rounds.
No, obviously, because
Okay.
the Model 10 would be 0 rounds.
This is true. This
or
is
the
true.
Model 17 would be. Yeah, it's not.
Well, what I'm saying is that's a 2-digit number. That's before they were doing like the 3-digit number, anyways. But yeah,
Well, the
I was just wondering,
3-digit
I didn't know
number
if it was
denote
ever-
again. 3-digit number denotes stainless, and
So it
there
could
were
be like the-
models.
it
there were
could be the
models that were
86.
around before stainless was a thing.
So
at that
yeah,
time.
so the 686 could
It come out after
theoretically mean
stainless was a thing.
it was a stainless and it was their 86th design. Let's just say it could be like something like that. We don't know. I don't know.
586, but yeah.
I don't know. Whatever it was.
Yeah.
Wes says that 5 was blued and 7 is nickel. He's asking if that's correct.
Yeah, on some of them, no,
5
there's
is
no
blue.
delineation. On some of them, there's no
On modern.
delineation between blued
Yeah.
and nickel. It's the same number.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
The quote unquote modern Smiths, generally, if you see like a 586
Stainless.
or whatever.
Stainless is a different kind of metal used.
Yeah.
You can use the same kind of metal and blue it or nickel it, right?
Mhm.
But in order to have stainless, you've got to use stainless. Feel
Right.
me? So, yeah.
It's just like the PD families, they do their scandium.
It's like changing the model number because you painted a different color. That's
Sure.
the deal with blued and nickel. It's a finish. It doesn't matter.
Calavera says most gun people would see a Henry, going back to the lever action, would see a Henry and they would think it's a Winchester.
Biggest thing that sets the original Henrys apart is there's no handguards. There's no forehand.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. It looks different than what
Yep.
people think of now.
Yeah.
Patriot out there says, this must be his one, Mount Rushmore, Kentucky long rifle, 1911, the Browning A5, the Winchester 73. Here's something that I was going to bring up: is the Springfield the 1903? That's a pretty important rifle as well.
It's an important rifle in American history.
Well, okay, I'll give you
But
that.
it's not a
I'll give you
Mauser.
that.
Yeah.
No, I'm not
proliferation's
saying
not there.
I'm not saying it should take the place of a Mauser.
No, I mean,
But yeah, the 1903 is a big one. The
if you're
M1's a big one. Sure. Yeah. Go ahead.
so if you're going to do like an American Rushmore, I can see the argument between an 03 and a Grant.
Yeah. Sure.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
100%.
overall, I don't think the 03 really has much chance of getting up there.
Yep. Now, Patriot also says, so this is actually not a real Mount Rushmore. We're doing a Mount worldwide. Correct. This is not just the American, because he brings up, once again, the 1903. So we're caught up. Yes, Patriot, we understand the Mount Rushmore kind of denotes a U.S.
Yeah,
history.
if you go American, I mean, you drop the AK and probably the Garand that gets up there, right?
Yeah, I think so.
That's the only change. That's the only change, isn't it? Would be that one. Well, we were talking about on the big
The
one. we were talking
Mauser,
about
the Mauser. Maybe you take the 1903 for the Mauser and the M1 for an AK. Well, the AK probably doesn't show up because in the right. Well, we didn't really pick a similar. We can put that in the military. The AK might come up in the military because we've got handgun. We've gone with the Army. We've gone lever action. We've gone with the 73 Winchester, and we've considered the Mauser is going for bolt action. So now let's go to let's just go to military style weapons. Does the 1911, is it the Garand? Is it the AK? What do you guys think? And I'll start with Clover on this. Military.
I did not consider when you say military. I wasn't considering the 1911.
It
going
was
up
literally
against, you
designed
know
for
what I
the
mean?
military.
I know.
Absolutely.
So I say if we're going, so here's the thing. I said
So was the
maybe
Beretta
Garand.
92. Now, I'm not saying the 92 is up there with the 1911. I'm not saying that, but yeah.
I said maybe Garand earlier, but going
Okay.
off of my criteria that I said earlier,
Sure.
staying true to that, the 1911 would beat out the Garand because it's more prolific. It was more popular civilian wise. It bled over. It was longer, roots. It's been around
Mhm.
longer. So yeah,
And
probably
John Moses fucking Browning.
right. And exactly, our Lord and Savior. And and if we're going worldwide, I think I go AK again.
Yeah.
I just
Yeah.
when Chase pointed it out, when countries have it on their freaking flag, and I was like,
Yep.
the vast majority,
100
they may
billion.
be podunk militaries in the world, but when
So
the vast majority use it, it's just like,
here is the funny thing. Before people go, and I don't know, I can't speak for now, but before we went somewhere, had you not had gone through foreign weapons training, you had to. They might as well just called it AK training. Let's be honest. Do they have certain other things out there? 98% of shooting in foreign weapons training was the AK. Why? Because chances are, if you were going to get into a firefight anywhere in the world, pretty much, and your rifle went down and you needed to pick one off of the ground, there was about a 98% chance that it was going to be an AK. And you had to understand how to run the system, right?
Well, look at U.S. and other countries in conflict, right? Very rarely do we have conflict with a country that doesn't predominantly use AKs.
There you go.
Rarely have we ever.
Shout out. Randy, a new YouTube channel member. Thank you very much, sir. I appreciate you very much. Yeah, I mean, it's hard. The 19, I think that I'm going to throw a little wrinkle in this in a second, but I think it's hard to argue against a 1911 or an AK. I think both of them have, I'll put it this way. If there was a committee and they decided on the 1911 or they decided on the AK-47, I don't think that there'd be very many people say that doesn't deserve to be up there. It deserves to be this. No, I think
there's strong cases either way. Yeah,
absolutely.
Strong cases either way.
Base military. What say you? What's your military gun?
Well, unless we're going to add a belt-fed category to this too.
You can do it. Hey, that's a military style gun. If you want to throw in a Maul Deuce or
that's what I'm saying, like
a 240
guns.
Bravo or something, because those are tough.
Iconic, good old Maul Deuce is hard to argue against, and so is the MG42, because basically all of your modern belt-fed weapons are MG42s. They are. Still, the argument's sake is hands down the AK, just because the absolute proliferation of that platform. You can't get away from it. And we're talking like people think about, ARs or whatever. When the first assault weapons ban happened, AKs were always the bad guy gun, and they got a ton of bad rap and bad press in the early 90s. The Hollywood shootout didn't help. The North Hollywood bank robbery, all that didn't help it at all. But, those were the evil. You thought about like all the 80s action movies, the AK was always the bad guy gun. Some version
the
of
Beretta 92 was the good guy gun.
And then Beretta 92 was the good guy gun, or 1911.
Sure, yeah. Yeah.
But I think the AK takes it, hands down.
Yeah. I'm going to throw a little wrinkle in this. And I'm going to mention something that I don't think people remember to put on their list, but when they hear it, they go, oh, damn, that's true. The importance of the Gatling gun. The importance of the Gatling gun. The Gatling gun changed warfare fought from 1860, what, 4, 3, 4, 5, somewhere in there. The
Yeah.
1860s on. The Gatling gun changed how armies around the world, because there were Japan. We're talking about countries all over the world were trying to get their hands on the Gatling gun. It changed things. I'm not saying it deserves to be up there, but I think the Gatling gun gets forgotten enough to be in the discussion a lot of the times.
The Gatling ushered in the age of machine guns.
That's what I'm saying.
I
You
mean-
were the reason why I even thought of that, and I had forgot about it until you said belt fed, and I said, "Fuck, belt fed. Let's go back to the Gatling gun, right?" You know, there wouldn't be a 240 Bravo if there wasn't a Gatling gun, probably. The Gatling gun was the belt-fed automatic weapon of the 1860s and 70s and into the 80s. Not saying it deserves to be up there. I'm just saying that I think Gatling gun does get forgotten quite a bit. Now, Clover, I think that you're going to agree very much with what Robert says. Robert says the best pistol is the Smith & Wesson M&P full-size 9mm. That is exactly what Clover would say as well.
Yeah, Clover would say that's exactly the definition of an oxymoron. But okay,
are you stressing the word moron in that, or
moron? No,
moron,
not at all. But yeah, not even close.
Now Robert says he likes Kalashnikovs, but he prefers an SKS. Man, I get it. I get it.
SKS
and
tough.
SKSs have their places, but they're
They
not
do.
okay.
They're not. People, and I talk about this all the time when I say this. This is nothing new unless you're new to the channel. The AR-AK war that goes on in this world. And people say, well, what do you like better? Well, and people that know me, and Clover's heard me say this 1,000 times. I prefer an AR as far as the platform. It's much more modular. You can do so much more. For a lot of the reasons that people hate the AR, I love it because you can customize it basically however you want to. That said, people that do know me know that if I had a choice of what I could shoot, it's AK all day. If you've never had the experience of shooting an AK, especially in full auto, and I know that sounds weird.
Yeah.
People have shot a lot of full auto guns, but if you've never truly experienced an AK in full auto, that is something that should be on your bucket list. A full auto AK is fucking awesome.
Even in semi-auto, the report is different.
Yeah,
the recoil impulse is different.
The sound is distinct.
Just
I mean,
the feel, everything is different. Yeah, everything.
Yeah, the cadence. I mean, it's an AK. An AK in full auto is just to me, it reminds me of a sped up Mod Deuce. You know what I'm saying? Like the sound. It's that.
Yeah.
I mean, speed that up, and that's an AK, but it's got a little more deep, like to it, you know?
Yeah, it's got that deep. It's got like a deep thumping noise to it.
Yeah. It's a beautiful sound. It really is.
And when we're saying AR-15, I'm assuming we're not talking alternative calibers. We're talking.
We're just
5.56 is a cracky, is a high pitched, cracky, tingy type report. That AK is just like a thump.
Yeah, it's There's a great line in Heartbreak Ridge, and he says that is the AK-47 assault weapon. It has a very distinct, sound. That's not just a line in a movie. Like, that's legit. Like, an AK, when it's being fired, especially in full auto, you know exactly what that is. I love shooting an AK. I love the sound of an AK. I just wish, and there are some now, but for me, when I think AK, I think the wood furniture, no accessory rails, nothing. It's just a basic AK. And the AKs that I have are not. I have one that is the tactical, but I don't ever shoot that. Like, I love the wood furniture, the old school Kalashnikov style AKs. Kalashnikov, sorry. But yeah, I would choose an AR as far as the style of rifle, the design of the rifle, the modularity, what you can do with it. But I'm telling you guys out there, if you've never had a chance to shoot an AK, especially in full auto, next time that you can find somewhere within driving distance, most states or areas have like a full auto shoot every summer, every year, sometime. Try to get to one. And I guarantee there's going to be several AKs there. And I know it just sounds weird, but it's just do yourself a favor and go shoot an AK in full auto. It's a bucket list thing. A mod deuce is a bucket list thing. For me, I think Chase would agree. A 240 Bravo should be a bucket list thing. That's one of I would say on the American. I wouldn't even say the American. I'd say worldwide. The 240 Bravo was one of the most important military guns that came out in the last 50 years, I would say. That 240 Bravo is an incredible weapon system. It introduced the idea of suppressive fire to the military, gave them a viable option that could be humped around on, by a person and not a mounted mod deuce. Which the three of us had this discussion a couple of days ago, by the way. But yeah, so where do we stand? Clover, are you choosing the 1911 for the military? Is that what you went with?
Yeah, I think I mean, I think I've got to go because again, we go back. 1911's been around longer than the AK.
Yeah, no, I hear you.
The proliferation worldwide, probably even now, probably not as wide as the AK. It's got to be up there. It's got to be. There's a lot of foreign countries that really dig on some 1911. And then, but I think you've got a lot more evident by all of the companies that currently produce 1911s as opposed to the companies that still produce, are producing AKs, right? Far more 1911s, at least in the, commercial market for sure. What am I saying? The consumer market, commercial market. Yeah, I guess whatever, private market. So yeah, military. I think 1911. Yeah.
Interesting. I'm not sure when this was. 2018. 2018. So these numbers are as of 2018. Most produced in numbers exceeding 100 or 1 million. Designs produced in numbers. AK-47, 150 million worldwide. These are worldwide numbers produced. The Mauser, 102 million.
Yeah.
Mosin Nagant. So you have 150 million and 102 million. Now I want you to hear what the number 3 is. The Mosin Nagant. 37 million. It's a fifth of number 1 and a third, roughly, of number 2. And then the M16/M4/AR-15 in all variants, 20 million. The Lee Enfield, interesting enough, 17 million.
Yep, that colonized the world for sure.
Yeah, and that's one of those things where you and I were talking about an infield the other day because of what you might be doing. But it's interesting that the infield doesn't even pop up on any of these, and that is a pretty iconic as well.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Would you say that that's not probably the most iconic British rifle? Would you say?
Oh, it definitely is the most iconic British rifle.
Oh, for sure, British rifle.
But aside from maybe the Brown Bess, right? But
yeah. And I was gonna say I saw a Kentucky long rifle down there earlier, and I was like, the Brown Bess, man.
The infield. I mean, yeah. If you're talking about British, rule colonizing the world and everything else. I mean, the infield has seen all corners of the world.
Yeah.
But then evident by the numbers produced and, not a lot of civilian love in sportalizing, and just you just don't get a lot of. I don't know. You just don't got the same, especially in the States, right? You don't have the same
Sure.
nostalgia
Yeah.
for it or anything like that. You do other things, so a lot of people often overlook it. It's one of the most often overlooked ones. So,
Yeah.
pro tip. A lot of times you can start an infield collection and find some pretty good deals because people don't really realize
Yeah.
what they've got.
SKS 15 million. Doesn't surprise me. So here we go. So that's number 1, AK-47, 2's the Mauser, 3's the Mosin Nagant, 4 the M16 variants, 5 Lee Enfield, 6 SKS. Number 7, the Mossberg 500, 12 million.
Yeah.
Number,
I knew it was
number
above
8,
10. 870
Number
above
8,
10 too.
the 870 at 11 million.
Yeah. Yep.
Marlin Model 60 at number 9, 11 million. And then we've got 3 at number 10. I think I'm counting that right. At 10 million, the Uzi Glock. It just says Glock. It's not a specific model, but Glock, 10 million. And I might mispronounce this. I'm ignorant. Is it the Arisaka?
Yeah, Arisaka.
Type 30/38/99. That's at 10 million. Here's one. And I understand why it hasn't been mentioned tonight. Iconic. The Makarov. 10 million. M1 Garand. 8.2 million. The HKG3. 8 million. Winchester 1894. 7.5 million. And the list only stops at this next one. It's 7 million is the FN FAL. Interesting. Those are interesting numbers. I don't know how legitimate and accurate they are, but if they're even were close, those are interesting numbers, because especially the Lee Enfield coming in the top 5, and that hasn't been mentioned at all. As far as most produced, it is a top 5, interestingly enough. I'd say another gun that I hasn't been, and I'm kind of surprised by both of you guys. Where does the Peacemaker stand?
What do you mean?
Like the Peacemaker, the gun. Where does that stand? Is I'm ignorant, so I'm asking you that. The Peacemaker is one of those things that every time I come across something, Peacemaker is brought up. Was it the 72 or 73 Peacemaker?
Peacemaker's a single action.
Is that an army? Okay.
That's a single action army. So when everybody thinks of the 1873 Colt single action army, that's what the Peacemaker is.
The actual so is the Peacemaker the actual name of it?
It was the nickname of it, or a lot of people given the nickname.
So that's the Wyatt Earp gun. Basically, was the army. The Maxim gun. I saw that earlier. What's the Maxim gun?
So that's a first
early machine gun.
Yeah,
Maxim.
The
one of the
was
first, if not. Yeah,
the Maxim's like the first widely adopted military belt fed.
Mm-hmm.
Like you saw it was used on both sides of World War I.
You know that you've seen them in movies, I'm sure. Whatever that's got the
jackets.
That's got the big, huge.
So it's like a smaller Gatling gun, basically.
I mean, it's a single barrel. It's it's a belt fed like it, but it's the grandfather of.
It's very distinct looking because you've got this big tube, right? Imagine like an 8-inch pipe with a barrel that runs through the middle of it, right?
Yeah.
And if you've seen.
Oh, okay, yeah, okay.
Jacket
yeah,
the barrel cool.
Yeah,
exactly.
Okay,
exactly.
Absolutely.
That's
I
the
I never knew what that was called. I never knew the name of that one, so I didn't.
No, I mean,
there's air cooled Maxims. Like everybody remembers, the Gunsmith on the Red Baron's Fokker and that kind of stuff. Those are Maxims.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, that's the Maxim is one people talk about your bucket list, right? If you NFA aside, cost aside, you could have anything. It's like, oh, I would love to have a Maxim.
A Maxim MG42. Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
That was a couple that were mentioned in the comments. Was the Maxim? A lot of people said the Peacemaker, which doesn't. Maybe they're as ignorant as I was, not knowing that the Army is the Peacemaker, because the Army was on the list.
Right.
But a Maxim, obviously the hand cannon was mentioned, just because it was 1200s or something, 1300s somewhere in there. But the Maxim was mentioned quite a bit, and all of that.
Higher Maxim designed a lot of cool shit.
Let's see here.
I know how you can really piss everybody off is choose between an FAL and a G3.
FAL.
G3.
FAL.
G3 all day.
FAL all day. Randy out there says most iconic infield is the RFI 2A1 in 7.6251, so the Ishapur basically. But how can the 2A1 be the most iconic when the 2A1 is based on the number one Mark III, which many other conversions were based upon too, and the number one Mark III being the rifle that basically colonized so many countries. So it's the cart before the horse there a little bit.
The only upside to that gun really is the cartridge availability.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I would agree with that.
If we're gonna go into the comparison, if you could only have one, Garand or the 1903?
M1.
Oh yeah, Garand. Yeah, Garand, without a doubt. That's why I have a Garand and not a 1903.
Same.
There you go. That's fair.
Hey, let me take that back. I've got a 1903.
And that's why I'm looking for an M1 and not a 1903. Although I'm not going to pay the prices they want for the M1 right now.
I do have a 1903. So let me back up. I do have a.
Is it a Springfield or is it a clone?
It's a Springfield, but it's a sporter. So, yeah, it's been.
You got a FUD Springfield. Of course.
Well, yeah,
it's super FUD. What are you talking about?
Here's the thing. It was somebody had started it as a project, and basically the only thing they didn't finish was the finish and the stock, right? But they had actually started carving into a stock. I mean, they had it all inlet and all that kind of stuff. It's just like the outside of the stock. They really didn't literally the butt stock was like a square block.
So they haven't shaped it or anything yet.
Yeah, so it's not like I bought an 03 or anything and jacked it up. I mean, it was that way, but I mean,
somebody did it for you.
It was already jacked up.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
I'll put it this way: I owned an 03 A3, but I still own an M1.
There you go. All right. Last question. What's the best gun ever? You can choose one and say this is the gun.
That's such an easy answer. It's easy.
Oh, really?
Easy.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
The correct answer. Are you ready?
Is the one that you have on you?
I'm going to give everybody a chance to get a pen and a piece of paper because they're going to want to write this down.
Super FUD's going to school. Here we go.
George Strait's talking.
The best gun ever. The best gun ever, hands down, bar none, no exceptions. The best gun ever is always the next one.
Oh, Jesus.
Oh, God, okay. I fucking knew something like that was coming.
Yeah, I knew it was going to be something like that. Give me a legitimate fucking answer, you little bitch. Am I wrong?
I mean, that's not a bad answer, but it's not.
It's not the right answer either. Quit being a bitch and commit to one. Okay, all right.
I can't
I'll
commit to
I'll
one.
make it a little bit
Goddamn.
easier for you. What's your favorite gun ever?
That's tough.
Because
Too.
best gun is there's a lot, but if you could only have one gun ever, but there was no price, there was no NFA, there was no restrictions, there was no problem. Whatever gun you wanted, you could have, but you can only get one.
That's a lot of caveats.
Gee,
An
work with
awful
me
lot,
here.
You know
You
what I mean?
just fucking
Okay.
work with me here.
Okay. I'm gonna say.
Jesus
I'm gonna
Christ.
say. Browning Buckmark. I'm going Browning Buckmark.
Okay.
See, for me, that's a if everything's aside, that's a really hard choice between an M16 M4 family because of all the shit available, or the HK Roller Lock family because of all the shit available, and they're all interchangeable. I mean, my heart says
it's
Roller
okay to
Lock
say the
HKs.
MP5, the MP5
Yeah.
family. It's okay to say that. I'm just saying.
Yeah, so I'm saying my heart says the MP5 / G3 / the 91, 93, all
Sure.
53,
But
33,
that's the only
all
one
that.
ever.
All 117 variants. Yes, I agree.
Well, see, you got one gun, but they all interchange.
Well,
so
good luck concealed carrying it. What are you gonna do? Get a
I ain't
taser?
worried about concealed carrying. I got a fucking MP5.
Okay.
If
Fling
there's
that bitch
no
and roll.
laws that says you can't have this, or
Yeah.
then no one's giving a fuck at this point about concealed carry either.
Well, then you've got ammo. You've got to tote ammo around. You've got something that burns through ammo fast. It's really. But okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But at least the ammo that we put through someone actually would stop them.
We can
Yes.
hunt squirrels. Okay.
I mean, that's the
well,
fucking lug
as
blower
soon,
special.
just as soon.
I wanted to see how quickly he said that.
Okay, I've waited for many years, and I'm still waiting. And I will caveat this by saying I will give you level 4 body armor, and you're going to take a 22 round to the chest. I'm waiting for somebody to take me up on that offer. But
I've
so
said
far,
that.
I hadn't got any takers. So
I have a video that's a very popular video on the channel with the argument of 22 LR being a legitimate option for home defense, which I think it is, obviously. And all these people saying, "Oh, it doesn't hurt anyone." I said, "All right, well, until you put up a video of someone shooting you on camera with a 22 LR and you show no effects to it, shut the hell up."
And you may very well can do it and show no effects to it.
You very well could.
But I'm not standing in front of it.
But 99% of the people are going to at least be affected by freaking lead entering their body.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not.
I don't want to get shot.
Here's the
of it.
thing. I'm
I
not
don't get shot
even
by a
with
BB, bro, much less anything else, you know.
Even with body armor on, I'm not standing in front of somebody that's shooting projectiles.
No,
No, because most of them
absolutely
can't
not.
shoot. They're going to shoot me in the fucking leg.
Well, I'm talking about, when I say it, I'm talking about all things equal. The shot will land center mass on the plate. But
yeah, I hear you. I might have to go minigun just because I fucking love a minigun.
I mean,
well, now you got batteries and ammo you got to tote around.
Fuck, I don't care. If I'm in a position where I can own a minigun, the batteries and ammo ain't gonna mean shit to me. Let's just be honest.
True story.
I don't know. Maybe a fucking tank. Is a tank considered a firearm or is it a vehicle?
Well, because tank is an AOW, so it's so if you reactivate the cannon, it's an AOW because it's bigger than 50 cal.
If you don't, then it's just a vehicle. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you can legally import.
Can you imagine?
Could you imagine the fire sale of shit you might get out of the Ukraine here soon?
Holy shit.
I hear there's some pretty good stuff over in Afghanistan right now.
Yeah.
Apparently.
Just saying.
There's probably still some stuff in Libya. There's probably still some stuff. A lot of places.
Let's be honest. The vast majority of
it. The A10. If we're gonna go that way, G23 wins the internet. The A10 Warthog.
Well,
there you go.
A10.
I didn't hear you say the A10.
Yeah. You said is a tank a gun, and I said an A10 is.
The A10 is actually a gun.
It's literally a gun that flies, and it's amazing.
It's a flying gun, literally. Yeah, I have a tendency of blocking you out of my head, Clover. So I apologize for not hearing you say the A10.
Yeah, no, that's
so
fine.
sorry.
And we have talked
Clover wins the internet.
We have talked an awful lot of FUD tonight. So just saying.
We have. That's 2 weeks in a row, dude. We talked 3 weeks in a row. We talked FUD Zone 3 weeks ago. Shotguns last week.
Dude, I'm telling you, you bring Chase in and you get outnumbered. You got a redneck and a hillbilly, and there it is.
I mean, I do like all the tactical black gun shit. I'm not gonna lie. That's where my heart's really at.
I know that's a lie.
I like it all. That's my problem.
I do too. I need to
hit the fucking Mega Millions tonight and just expand my collection.
I want to say it's up to like 850 million. Did I hear that correct?
When I bought tickets earlier, it was 810 or some shit, or 830. I don't know, something high.
Yeah, it's crazy. 800 million. Yeah, I'll take the lump sum. Take my taxes. I'll still take $450 million. Appreciate it.
In
Thank you.
Florida, when I looked earlier.
Can I get those in 20s, please?
Why? You'll find out.
I need singles because I'm gonna make it rain.
Can you imagine walking into a club? And they're all like hundreds.
I would take a fucking like Glad trash bag full of Susan B. Anthony dollars. I'm gonna make it hail.
That's funny.
Make it hail. People get concussions being knocked out.
Awesome. If I had that kind of money, it would be just a fun experiment. Take what, 40, 50 grand? You know, I mean, if you got 400 million, who cares, right? 40 or 50 grand in singles.
That's
right?
after taxes, by the way. Yeah.
In singles, get somebody, hire one of these, like they do in Vegas with the little planes. Fly over the top of your hometown and just have the guy just start dropping money out of the plane. Rain down like 30 or 40,000. No, I would do bills, but I would do literally like 40 or 50 grand in singles, right? And I would be on the ground. I wouldn't be in the plane because I would want to witness what people do when like dollar bills literally start to rain from the sky. That would be hilarious.
Literally are falling from the sky. Literally. Yeah. Hour 42 minutes. Been fun conversation. Real quick, Chase, I do have a question that was asked on my latest P35 match video from over this weekend. Guys, if you guys haven't seen it, I've got the Gerson MC P35 match. The high power of the Gerson videos up, but I did have a question from a viewer wants to know when do you think these are going to be made public? Are they out officially yet?
They're shipping this week, actually.
Okay. There you go. I'll make sure that I get that answer to him in the comments. Because he was like, I heard these are going to be coming out in July. Can't find one anywhere. Where did you get yours? And I said, I sold my soul.
He's got really soft hands.
Wow, it got dark. And
that says more about you than it does him. But
that's what I'm going to say. I mean, hey. Wow. Well. All right, moving on. So in the next week or two, Jesus Christ, the next couple of weeks, next on the hotline, my God, I'll start playing some background music. Hold on. I bet you.
This is turning into like Love Line from like the late 90s quick.
Oh, yeah. Welcome to Ghost Tactical's Nighttime Chat. All right, fuck that. Well, by the way, I don't know if you knew this, Clover, in your brand tab, I don't know if you've got it or not, but there is like background music they give you now.
Yeah, you muted everybody. I was going to come in and go, I'm his co-host, Leon Phillips. The ladies,
Oh,
man.
did it mute it? It must have. I guess when I played it, it mutes everybody. I didn't know that it muted you. That's the first time I ever pushed that.
Yeah, it did. When you played it, it muted
Push
me.
it
I'm
harder.
like, well, damn it.
Good Lord. Randy, be safe out
so
there.
do
I'm
this
sorry.
at
You'll
John.
never be the same, my man. You'll never, ever be the same after listening to this fiasco. But thanks for
Guarantee
stopping by. And thanks for joining the Ghost Squad over on the YouTube side. I know you said the match are being shipped this week or whatever. What about the OPS? Is that coming out in the same time or what?
Ops is shipping the same time. They're both,
Okay, do you guys call it the OPS? Is it you guys call it the ops?
Yeah.
I call
Okay.
it the Andy Griffith version.
The operator.
Opie.
I don't think Andy Griffin would have a
The
high
Opies.
power with a rail on it.
It's the Opies, so it's the Andy Griffith version.
Oh my god.
That's what we need to start calling the Opie. It's
Well,
the P35 Opie.
Well, since we're talking about them,
Yeah.
there might be a new development on the horizon.
Interesting.
We're
still alive, right? All right.
We may have started taking big distributor orders for them Monday. Just saying. This will definitely play into Clover's world.
Why do you guys not think of me when y'all start doing shit? Say, fuck Clover. This needs to fit in Ghost World.
There'll be a cooler version of it too down the road. Don't worry. So how we brought the original P35s that were very true to the original. Are you familiar with the detective model?
No, is it like a shorter barrel type thing?
Shorter carry model, high power.
Okay, so yeah, okay.
It's the PI, and that is a thing.
Like the private investigator?
Yeah, just can't call it detective because it's trademarked.
The PI, I think most people would understand the PI side of that, yeah.
Yeah. So there's a P35, basically detective model.
Please, for the love of God, if you're going to have a PI, have it in a Magnum caliber so you can call it the Magnum PI.
I've already trusted
you guys don't do that.
I wanted I wanted them to stretch the frame somehow and shove a 10 mil in that so I could have the Magnum PI.
I mean, if you're going to have, you're missing out, man.
When the name was decided, that was like the first thing out of my mouth. Has to be. But yeah, it's here. So
anyways,
first of them, I'll have some to show here soon. Shipping wise, I don't have a time frame on them yet, but
so these are already a thing. They're just not out yet.
Oh yeah, we're like full steam ahead with them. But we've kept them quiet.
Awesome.
Because some other companies might be trying to work on some smaller versions of it as well, and I wasn't gonna let them beat me to it.
So G23 says he's still waiting for the 10 millimeter. Yeah. Go get a 10 millimeter 1911. A high power is not going to be in 10 millimeter, my man.
Yeah.
Or
the
is
frame
it?
Just won't accept it. I mean, trust me, I'm trying to work on something to that effect, but that's a little more down the road. If it's possible.
Yeah, it's going to be a pretty significant engineering challenge for that.
Yeah.
Clover has got several videos on the Gerson 10 millimeter 1911. So if you're wanting a Gerson 10 millimeter, go get that 1911. Clover's got a couple of videos. I want to say by those weird ass noises that he's making that he likes it a lot.
I know, right? Oh my God.
Oh yeah.
John Moses Browning design and the best caliber ever. Yeah, thank you.
Well, I mean, the three of us have all shot it, and that is such easy impulse when you shoot a 10 mil. There's nothing to it. I mean, everybody gets this weird, like, 10 millimeter is gonna it's gonna suck. It's not gonna shoot raw. It runs.
I love that. That's a pretty one. It's my Springfield Ronin. But yeah, I think 10 millimeter. I love 10 millimeter. I know that the G20 and all great platforms.
Yeah.
My favorite guns that I've ever shot in 10 millimeter have been 1911s. I like the 10 millimeter and everything, but yeah, I enjoy, like, that's why my first 1911 is in 10 millimeter. Like, that's when I shoot a 10 millimeter handgun, like the 1911 is, I enjoy shooting a 1911. You know, that's how much I like it. Is I actually got a 1911. People know that I'm not a huge 1911 guy, but I did get one, and it's in 10 millimeter. So that explains. Yeah,
So-
I think that the 10 millimeter for me, I think it needs to go 1911. And that Gerson, Clover, I know that you're a huge fan of it. Go ahead.
Yeah. Good.
You were saying so, and I cut you off. So yeah.
Oh, I don't know. I probably responded to something in the chat.
Oh. G23 says, I dislike the grip safety on 1911s. It wasn't designed to have it blame the Army. There are certain things that, and it still goes on today. There are things that, let's just take, for instance, the SIG P320. There are features on the SIG P320 that are on that gun in the military that initially was never part of the design. That's part of getting a military contract. Are you willing to add something that you don't really want to put on there or never had any idea of putting on there if it's to get a military contract?
The .gov is very stupid safety conscious.
There's things you can do for that grip safety. That's all I'm going to say. But
yeah. But you also have to remember there is the Geneva Convention. There are different worldwide documents that also have restrictions on what armies can and can't have in their assault weapons arsenal. So yes,
I don't get people that have issues with the grip safety. Like, it's one thing, like, I don't like.
Are you gonna limp wrist it and it's not gonna work? You know?
I don't understand. It's like I have never fired a handgun that's got a grip safety that I'm like, I can't shoot this. It's got a grip safety. I've never had not one single malfunction caused because I didn't engage the grip safety right. Never have I had that problem. And I've got multiple handguns with grip safeties. I don't.
If you're going to grip a gun light enough to not engage the grip safety, then you're probably going to get injured when you pull that trigger, regardless. Let's just say.
Yeah, okay? I don't get it.
I don't get it either.
And maybe people just don't like the design. Maybe that's most of it.
Well, I mean, I get the fact that it's not, when you're not using it, that grip safety might not be the most pleasant thing to look at, but who cares? Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
All right, Chase, back to you real quick, my man. Anything that you want to talk about with EAA going on? I mean, if you want to do any secret announcements, we're all for that, obviously. But no, are you guys going to be at any shows or anything coming up in the next month or two?
Yeah, I mean, we're going to be at some of the dealer shows here coming up. So August is real busy for me. So I'll be at all of the big buy group shows in August. Okay. So I'll definitely be real busy, but it's a good time for anybody who has like a local dealer. They want to be like, hey, I really want to see this gun or this gun. Tell them, because I'll be in front of all of them here next month.
Yep, absolutely. Clove. So this guy,
what?
I want to give some background to a video that you put out today. We're talking on the phone earlier, and he says, yeah, we're going to take a road trip for the anniversary, but I need a break. I'm fairly certain it was around noon. He was still probably in his pajamas eating a bowl of cereal, and he needed a break from his life. So I'm just kidding. If you were going to do something, obviously you're not going to be doing shit for the next 2 weeks. You've already announced it. So
right.
No, when you come back, yeah. Go ahead.
I was saying he had his breakup video today. I saw that.
He did. If that camera would have panned down, he'd still be in his pajama pants.
I was not in pajama pants. Not today.
It's like they were Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle cutoffs. Thank you.
No, they were outdoor performance from Wrangler.
They were outdoor performance My Little Pony pants.
No. No, there's nothing. I mean,
With a cowboy cut.
Absolutely.
They were assless chaps.
Not boot cut. Is there any other kind of chaps? That's what's funny about when somebody says that.
That is funny. There's not an ass chap. It's there's no such thing as ass covering chap.
No, it would not be chaps if it,
yeah,
if it had
that's
a butt
true.
in it.
They'd be pants.
They'd be pants. Exactly. We went off the rails.
Yeah, that was crazy. When you get back, do you have anything that you plan on working on, or are you just going to kind of
really? I mean, we'll see. Not really. I kind of, that's the idea. We're going to get away for a few days here. After tomorrow, I guess, head out, get away for a few days. And then I got some projects here I'm going to work on. I'll probably post to the community tab and Instagram some stuff. And, I'll be, if anybody needs to get me, I mean, I'll be around. It's not like I'm going away, but, it's just a good time right now. Summertime's always tough for gun channels, and it's a good time for us to get away and recharge if we need to.
Recharge. That sounds, a day off would be nice. Let's be honest.
Yeah, what's that?
I haven't had one since April.
Gotta go recharge that rainbow.
Well,
damn Skippy.
I'm blessed. What can I say?
Motherfucker's whole life is a vacation. He needs a vacation from his vacation.
Yeah, my bad. Yeah. You know all too well. Too well. My whole life ain't been no vacation.
I talked to him and he's like, "Yeah, I'm just sitting around the kitchen cooking a pile of eggs and
what are you doing? Oh, I'm making some pies."
I was like,
I'm like, dude, I worked 75 hours and you're making pies.
Chase over there, understand? I've got grandbabies as old as yours, so been there, done that.
I'm over like ass deep in ATF paperwork, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm cooking breakfast at noon."
Yeah,
right.
That's where I started laughing this morning. He was like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "Oh, I'm eating lunch, getting ready to go on the road trip for a few days. I need a break." I'm like, "A break? Like your whole life's a break, Like, wow, he needs a break, do you? Let's go take a road trip because my life is stressful every day." I'm just messing with you, buddy. Let's see here.
We're just
Christmas
jealous.
740. I'm jealous. Hell yeah, I'm jealous. Actually, I'm not. I'm a workaholic, bro. It sounds crazy. Like even when today, I could have left around lunchtime, and I stayed at work. I mean, I could have gone and left and done some stuff, but I'm kind of I don't know.
I get bored fast.
I hate it. I do enjoy being in that grind. The grind is where I succeed. Like that's where I love like the fog. You know what I'm saying?
Yep. Yeah, I get it. But that's part of my issues. I've got like 15 things in the air at the same time, and it's like, oh my God. And I like that. And that's when I probably work best. But at some point you're like, okay. And when I say that I'm taking a break, other than the road trip, it's not a break because I'm going to come back and have to get all these projects finished.
Mandatory carry, $5 super chat. Thank you, brother. Appreciate you very much. That's my favorite sociopath right there. No, I'm not going to say that lie because that's a joke. That's a joke to whoever's listening out there. He is not a sociopath. My favorite Coastie. How about that?
And the ATF just shot his dog.
Jeez.
Good job.
Wow. You would know you were with them for 2 days.
Always terminating Fido.
The ATF ain't listening to this for 2 hours. If they have, we got.
Hell, I wasn't listening. I wasn't listening for 2 hours, and I'm hosting this fiasco.
They started out in about, I don't know, 2 minutes in was like, we're gone.
Yeah.
The FBI is like, this is worse than that guy slapping mayo for 2 hours. I just can't do it.
Yeah, can't do it. The fact that we still have people watching after 2 hours is beyond me. But for all you fuckers out there that are still live, thank you. For everyone out there is watching this and still making it 2 hours into this in replay or in podcast form, all I can say, that's 2 hours you will never, ever get back. Thank you so much for watching. Clove, be safe out there, bro. We'll see you when you get home and all of that, but we'll see you guys next week. Semper Fi.